Okay. Good evening, Mr. Jagannath and Shreya. So let's start the Pandas session. Um, on behalf of the SIAS Institute, I gladly welcome you to the program. Um, so let's understand the basics of the Pandas library. Uh, Once again, I welcome you all. Let's start today's session. Okay, so I'll share my screen. I hope you have already received the installation instructions and two Excel files, data sets that we are going to analyze using the Pandas library. So this is a very basic course. We are going to learn the basics of the Pandas library. So there'll be plenty to build once this basic course is over. All right. So you don't typically need any prior programming experience. But I assume that you have some program experience. But still, it's a very basic. It's a very Pandas library is a very friendly library which can be learned quite easily. Okay, so I'll share my screen and I'll show you how to install it. Yeah. So the first thing is to install the Anaconda library. So Anaconda download, and then go to the individual edition. Here you can actually find the Windows version. You can click on this. It'll get downloaded into the download folder. From there you can directly install it. Setup, you can actually see the setup file. It's very straightforward to install. If you have installed at least one software, you will definitely able to do that. So it's a quite simple and easy installation process. I hope you have already done that. um, I know Shreya also already must have done that because Shreya already had attended a session earlier on Python, and she has installed the Anaconda library. Mr. Jagannath, I hope you also have installed it. Yes. Okay. So now you can go to the Start menu and you can search for Jupyter Notebook. I'll share my screen. So you can go to the Start menu and you can type Jupyter Notebook here. So it's the Jupyter Notebook is the interface or editor that we are going to use to run the codes. Okay, so you can click open. It'll open in a browser. Okay, so if Chrome is your default browser, it'll open as a tab in your default browser. Anything if it opens in whatever browser you use, whichever is your default browser, in that browser, it should open. Yeah, you can actually see it has opened. Give me a minute. No, wait. Yeah. Yeah. So this is how it will look like. It will show you some folders that is there in your directory. Now we have to open a new editor for which we will go to new on the right hand side top corner, and then you can go to Python 3. Yeah. So you should be able to see something like this. Okay. If there is any problem, if you are not able to see it, kindly let me know. Okay. I'm sorry. Some technical issues. Yeah. So I'll share it again. Yeah. Okay. Is this visible to you both? If you can actually raise your hands, then we can go ahead. Yeah. All right. Okay. Mr. Jagannath, are you familiar with programming with Python? No. Okay. Okay. Any programming language? Any programming have you done before? Okay. Fine. Fine. No problem. No problem. Okay. I just wanted to know at what level I must discuss things with you. That's why. Okay. So no problem. I'm just okay. So this Jupyter notebook, everything is quite new to you, right? Yeah. Okay. No problem. We'll go quite slow. I mean, yeah. All right. Thank you. So yeah. Now, if you want, okay, I'll okay. So I'm bringing this is a little closer. So what first we will do is we will import Pandas library. That's the first thing. So Pandas is a library built into the Python coding Python programming language. So the Python programming language has a lot of libraries which can be used for various purposes. For example, Pandas is a library which is specifically used to um, pick up and analyze data from various sources. For example, if you have a data in the form of a CSV file or Excel file, um, you can use Pandas to analyze it. So Pandas contains a lot of tools that will help us analyze various aspects of the data. You can actually explore what's there inside. Yeah. Okay. Um, Ms. Manjut, Mrs. Manjut, welcome to the program. We just started.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, have you installed the Anaconda library?
Yes, yes. So
Yes.
already,
So,
yeah.
so you can go to the Start menu and just look for Jupyter Notebook. Just type Jupyter Notebook in the Start menu.
Okay.
Just see. Let me know if it's coming up.
Jupyter.
You can actually see the spelling here. Jupyter,
Yeah,
PY.
yeah. Got it. How do you want to open the file?
You can just open it. It'll open in a browser automatically. It'll open. Just click it. Just click open.
Okay.
So in your default browser, it will open as a tab, a new tab.
Yeah, got it, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you can
Okay.
go to the now that's the Jupyter notebook. You can actually see the directories in your laptop, right? In your
Yeah, yeah.
now on the right hand side top, you can actually see a drop down menu called New.
Yeah, got it.
Just go there. You can actually
Huh.
see Python 3.
Yeah, Python
Click it,
3.
and a new notebook will open like this.
Um, okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, okay. So this is a typical cell. Okay. This is a typical notebook. And whatever you see here is a cell, is called a cell. So you can enter your code into this cell, it will work. It'll execute. You can actually, okay. Now you enter the code there, press Control and Enter together. It will execute that code. Or otherwise, you can go to the run command over there, it will run. That's the idea. Okay.
Okay,
So
thank
this is
you.
how generally a Jupyter notebook work. And you can actually see various options are there. One is called a code, and if you click there, I mean, all of you can do that. If you click there, there is another option. You can actually see Markdown. You can actually see raw and B convert heading. These two I'll explain later. Markdown is also there. You can actually use it to edit text as well. Okay? Just the way you would do with an HTML thing, you can use the Jupyter notebook to produce presentation. I mean, design presentations as well. Okay, so these are the two options. So this actually makes a Jupyter notebook a very useful tool to analyze and present data. Okay, yeah. Fine. Now, the Pandas, as I was saying, is a library written to the Python programming language. It's a third-party tool which is developed by independent people, but it is integrated into the Python programming framework, so that and it is designed and meant to analyze data. Okay. Fine. So the first step is so the Anaconda actually consists of all the basic libraries required for data analysis. So it has the plotting softwares, it has the data analysis softwares, it has machine learning software. So whatever you look for, it will be there. Now, if you want to if you want to use any one of them, the first thing is to import it. Okay, so that's what we are going to do the first thing. So we'll use the command. You can type it along with me. Import pandas as PD. Okay. Now, PD is actually called an alias. We will use it to refer it later. For example, if you want to use any other functionalities available within Pandas, we have to use this name PD. If you don't do this, what will happen is we have to keep on typing Pandas every time. Okay, so avoid that. We will give it an alias, give it a pet name called PD, so that you can save typing later on. Okay, so this is what the first thing to do. Now let's either run it, or you can press Control plus Enter together. It will show a star sign first, and then it will show a number. And if a number is shown, it actually shows that it's running right now. Initially, it will take some time to import all the pandas libraries. So it will be importing all the libraries now, all the functionalities available within the library. So it will take some time. So let's be patient. Um, wait. Where is it? Yeah, now it is showing number one. Now the next thing is we have imported the pandas library. For the time being, this is enough for us. We're actually starting with it later on. When we're plotting and all, we will plot other libraries later on. So for the time being, this is enough for us. Now this is the first thing. Now, have you downloaded the data sets that we've sent to you? Two Excel formats were there within today's mail. If you haven't downloaded, kindly download and keep it in a folder in your laptop right now. We will be using them. You can check your mail. It should be there in your mail. Two data sets. Okay. Please make sure where are you saving it. You can actually. We should know where the directory properly. But it's okay. We can actually find it out. Right. Hope you have done that. Now we have to import the data set. That's the next thing. So let's import the data. Oh. So the next step is to import data set. Okay. So now I want a different cell. Either I can go for a different cell or I can click enter. You can enter your remaining the next line of code in the same cell itself. But let's say you don't want to do this. You want a different cell. You can actually type escape and B together. That will open a new cell. Escape plus B. Okay. Now what we need to do is we have to read the data set. Okay. We have to ask pandas to read the data set, for which the command goes like this. We can use the okay. I'll read the data set. Now to read the data set, we can use the command um, pd.read. Okay. So this read is a functionality available within the pandas. So we are actually calling it using this. Okay, so it's this is how you call it pd.read. Okay. Now we will import the data set and then we will give it a name again so that we can refer it later. So let's call it df. I'll call you what is this df is all about. Now, in order to load the data set, what we have to type is pd. We are calling pandas dot read underscore. Now, this is a CSV file. It's called a comma separated file. So the data set that I've shared with you is a CSV file, and CSV stands for comma separated values. So the file will be like the entries will be like one after another. It will not be a kind of a structured one. Okay, not like an Excel sheet in which you have rows and columns together. This will be like randomly put values. If it's an Excel file, we know that it will be in the row and column format. We have a very good structure. But in practical real life, the data never comes in that fashion. It comes in all row formats. So usually, many sets of data comes as comma separated values, in which the data will be entered as just comma separated values. So if it comes in that format, it's very difficult for us to read and analyze it. What are the informations contained in it? What are the um, um, insights that we can get those data? Okay, so we have to get those into a very structured format. That's the first step. So the first step is to read it, and then we have to bring it to a very structured row and column format. Okay, that's what we are going to do right now. So the command is this pd.read underscore CSV. Okay, that's the file type. Now you open a bracket. Inside what we have to do is we have to enter the full directory name. I'll do that. We can actually So this is my directory. This is where my file is all about. You can actually find out where is your data, and you can find out. Give me a minute. Okay. Okay. So it's in the C. Okay. Here I don't need this. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. So if it's great. So this is how you should enter your directory. Are you able to find it? You can actually see it should be backslash like this. Okay. Otherwise, it will not read. So it is in the C directory within which I have this users folder, within which I have within my name and then OneDrive, pictures, documents. And this is where my data is located. Similarly, you can actually locate your data and copy and paste here. If you have any difficulty doing this, kindly let me know. If this is going correctly, I'll show you how the output will look like. I enter it. No error should show up. Okay, it should run quite cleanly. For me, there is no error. It's absolutely fine. So it's okay. It's running fine. For you, let
Uh,
me know. Yeah,
yeah, sorry to interrupt. After the quotes, comma, then there is something, is there, no? After giving path?
yeah. Okay, header none.
Okay.
Okay, I'll show you that.
Yeah. Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
that's not mandatory, but it's actually for this data set we need that. I'll tell you why you would need that later on.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
Even if you don't give this command, data will get loaded. I mean, that's not a problem. But yeah. Okay, I hope it's working for all of you. If it's not working, kindly let me know. Shreya, is it okay for you? Jagannath, fine?
That's good.
Okay, I hope it's okay. Jagannath, can you hear me? Okay, so I hope,
Actually, there is
yeah,
some error. Yeah.
you can show me the screen. I'll check it. You can share your screen.
Yeah, one second. Valid document. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
No problem. Let's go slow today. No issues.
Okay.
Are you sharing your screen?
Yeah, just one second.
I'll do one thing. I'll
I
stop
got
sharing.
confused. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
You go ahead. You go ahead.
Um, so this window is not opening. That's why. Jupyter 1.3.
Which is
I
not
think
opening?
it's.
Yeah. Now it's showing up.
Actually, this is not the one where I'm not getting that Jupyter window. That's why I'm looking.
It should be a tab, like actually. You should look for a browser. I mean, you can open it
Oh,
as a window or tab or something. Leave it open and then you can share it.
yeah, we'll try once again. Then.
Meanwhile, Mr. Jagannath, is it fine? Is it working fine for you? Yeah. Um, yeah. Finding the directory is the problem.
Actually,
Okay.
mm,
Wait a minute.
uh,
I'll just show you how to. Yeah. Yes, Manju, go ahead. Okay, Jagannath. So it's working for you.
can you
I
see
hope.
my screen now? No?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Show me. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
This is the one.
I'm just trying to. Okay.
Uh,
What is it? One dot. Okay, that's how your folder name is.
yeah, my folder name is
Okay,
like.
you have to use the backslash. I think you're using the forward slash.
Okay, so I copied the path. That is why.
Now, if your path is correct, it should run fine. Now check. Yeah, fine.
Ah,
No.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah,
it. Okay.
actually, when you are taking the, my question is, how will you copy the path? I just right clicked and copy as
That's
path.
it. That's it. Yeah, same thing. Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
that's it. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay. Super. So it's running for us. Now let's say now we have loaded the data. Now actually this DF actually stands for data frame. Okay, it stands for data frame. We will talk in detail about data frame. So data frame is oh, okay, I'm not sharing. Sorry. Yeah. So the DF stands for data frame. So data frame is actually a data type. Okay, data type in pandas. So it's like you say it's an object in pandas. Actually, you say um, floats, dictionaries, lists, and all these things, right? So data frame is another type of object that's there in the pandas library. And data frame actually arranges your data, the comma separated values, which are not in a in a row and column format. So this read.csv command, what it does is it transforms your row data in a beautiful row and column format. That's what it does. Okay. Now, to understand whether it is done well, what we can do is we can use the command df.head, okay, and then leave a parenthesis there, and then run it. You should be able to see this. Do you see it? So it will show you the first 5 rows of your data. First 5 rows. You can actually see it starts from 0. That's the first row. Second row, which is indexed as 1. Third row indexed as 2. Fourth row indexed as 3. And fourth row indexed as 5. Sorry, fifth row indexed as 4. Okay, so this is how indexing happens in Python. It starts from 0. Okay, the first element will be always indexed as 0 and so on. Do you see this? All the columns will be displaced and only the first 5 rows will be displayed. If you see this, you actually know that it's working fine. We can go ahead with the next steps of data analysis.
Actually, the command is df.read, no?
Head, HEAD.
Sorry. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
why.
df.head. Now, yeah, you can raise your hands. It's all if this is showing up for you.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, I hope Jagannath, Shreya, you both got it right. Yeah. Now I'll show you one interesting thing. Just remove that header none. Header none is there, right, in the first column. Sorry, in the cell above, we have added header none, right? Only remove that and keep everything else. Run it again. Load the data once again, and then type df head again. You will see an interesting thing. What do you see? I hope you're seeing the column names, right? Instead of earlier, it was actually showing 0, 1, 2, 3 at the column header. Now you see the column names actually, right? Yeah. See?
Yeah.
For type, calories, everything. Okay. So I did that to facilitate. So sometimes what happens if you keep that header, you cannot extract some columns or some information properly. So in some cases, what we have to do is we have to remove that header at altogether. Okay. So that's why I've removed that. It's not necessary in all the cases. So usually, if you have a fresh data set, don't try this at first. Try with this row command. Just load it. Go ahead, and in a certain step, I'll tell you in what step you will understand that. You think that there is a problem, we can actually remove the header, and then it will work fine. Okay, so there are certain situations you should consider removing the headers by stating header none. Okay, fine. So this is great. Now, if it's working fine, you have successfully loaded the data. You have now transferred it into the form of a data frame, and you can actually go ahead with the further steps. Now let's see. Now let's go to the next step. Escape B. I get the new cell here. Now what we'll do in the next step is let's understand how many rows and columns are there in this. Okay, that's important, right? We should know how many rows and columns are there. Otherwise, we don't know what, right? We have to extract information. So if we have to extract information, we should know how many rows and columns are there. For which we can use the command df.shape. Just click enter, it will show you. Now you can actually see it contains, it's in the order of rows and columns. Yeah, so it contains 77 rows and 16 columns. So number of columns, actually you can see it from here itself probably. 16 columns you can actually count. But those 77 rows you cannot count because only 5 rows are actually being displaced right now. But this data actually contains 77 rows and 16 columns. Okay, so we understood that. Now let's understand. Now, if you want to know what is the column headings, you can actually type the command df.columns. It will show you the name of your column. Okay, sorry, the name, the heading of each and every column that's associated with your data set. Okay. Now, how do we know that whether this is your data frame, whatever that we have created now, is correctly in the data frame format itself? For that, what we can do is we can just use the command df.type. Oh, sorry, not df.type. Type df. You can actually see it. Okay, this is the type. This is the data type. So pandas core, it's a data frame. Okay, so it's fine. So it's a data frame. So it's in the correct format. So whatever methods available with the data frame, you can go ahead with it. Okay. Now let's say we want to understand. Okay, let's type this. So if you have programming, some sort of programming, okay, D types. So D type stands for data types. So there are various types associated with programming language. For example, a number is actually a data type. Okay, we call it uh, what do we call a number in programming language? Uh, okay, a text is
Int.
called a string.
Int.
No, int is an integer. Um, We have float, which is a floating number, but there is a general name to it. Wait, I forgot that. Numerical, right? Numerical, yeah, numerical data type. Yeah, I think, yeah, there is, yeah. Okay, so these are some of the data types. So if it's a text, we call it a string. Okay, if it's a text format. If it's an integer, we call it int. If it's a like fraction, maybe like 3.4, 3.5, etc., something like a fraction, we call it an float, right, in a programming language. So again, to work with, see, the methods to work with text is completely different from the methods to work with numbers, right? So to do that, we have to understand what kind of data types, no, what are the types of, I mean, what is the type of the data that we have? For example, let's say I want to add two numbers. So, okay, I want to do some arithmetic operation. You cannot, okay, you can do that, but it's not meaningful to do arithmetic operation with strings, right? So, or otherwise, let's say you have a set of information with you, and you have some numbers, but merely being it a number, it's not necessary that it should be in a properly formatted. It could be a string, technically speaking. So let's say you want to find the mean of those numbers, and if it is encoded as string, you can't actually find the mean because mean is not defined for text. It's defined only for numbers. So to do the arithmetic or what mathematical operations on a data set, we need to know what is the type of data in each columns. Okay, so that's the purpose. So if I do df.dtypes, let us see what happens. See, this is what it returns. Okay, now MFR. Okay, you can go back and see your head. MFR is the manufacturer, is your name of your first column, heading of your first column, and every entry coming under that column is an object. Now, if you see object in Python, it means that it is a string and it is encoded as a text, okay, not as a number. So if you see object, it is always encoded as a string, as a text, not as a number. So we have to keep in mind that if you see object, you cannot do any kind of meaningful arithmetic operations on an object. So if you want to do mathematical meaningful operations, it should be on numbers, numerical data type. Now, if you can see here, type is also like CCC. That's also we expect it to be a object only because that's all text. It's only alphabets, English letters, so it's also text. But if you can see here, from here on, it's all numbers. So calories is 70, 120, 70, 50. We expect them to be integers, right? It's all not like numerical, not like fractions, or it doesn't contain any decimal points. So these are all integer numbers. And but fiber, if you can see, it's float, right? 10.0, 2.0. It is properly encoded as floats, like floating point numbers. You have a decimal point there, which is normally called as a floating point. So it's a float. But all other entries are supposed to be in integers. Let's see if it's so. So under calories, we should see int. See, under calories, we're actually seeing int. Under protein, again, we're seeing int. Now, where did we see float? Under carbo and fiber and carbo, we are actually seeing floats. Let's see if that's the case. See, fiber and carbo, we see floats. Okay, so this df.d types will give us an idea of what kind of data type that we are dealing with. Okay, so again, you see weight is float. Let's check if that is correct. Weight. Yeah, weight is again a floating number. And cups rating, all of them is supposed to be a floating point number. So all of them are floats. Okay, so we have understood that. Any questions? Fine, let's go ahead. Okay, now let's give another command, which is called df.info. This will give you an overall information about your data set. Now you can see it has 77 entries from 0 to 76, which means that it has 77 rows indexed 0 to 76. So it means that for the first row, it is indexed as 0, and the 77th row will be indexed as 76. So you can actually see the index. So we need to know these indexing format, because if we have to take out some information from a certain column, we need to know what is the index of that row or what is the index of that column, right? Now you can actually see the data column. Number of data columns is also given here. It says it has 16 columns. There is a serial number provided, and you can actually see the column names. And within each column, you can actually see how many non-null values are there. Now, what is the importance of the non-null value? Now, in a very raw data set, in some columns, there may not be any entries. We expect some entries, but let's say you have a huge data set of, see, this itself is somewhat huge, right? 77 rows are there. Within the 77 rows, let's say there is one column, okay, one cell comes in between where there are no values, which is actually called a null point, null cell, null value. Either it will be like it will be encoded as nan, not a number, or it will be encoded as 0. Those kind of things are very tricky to deal with. Okay, so to understand how many null values are there or how many non-null values are there, it's also important. So it shows within the name column, you have 77 non-null values. That means the entire column is very clean. You don't have any null values over there. So it's quite easy for us now. Okay, if you have null values, we need some extra measures to deal with it. Okay, in data analysis, these null values are actually it will cause a lot of problems. Okay, so it's extremely important. So these processes are called data cleaning. So in the first step, we have to understand if there is a null value. If there is a null value, how to get around it, how to remove it. So for this, we need to know how much null values are there in each column and row. Okay. So this gives us there are 77 non-null values. So it's absolutely fine. So in actually see, even in the 16, all the 16 column, this is 0th column, all the way up to 15th column. Okay. So in none of the columns we have any null values, which means that its data is somewhat clean. We don't have any problem with it. Okay, so again, you can actually see the D type. So this df.info with a parenthesis will give you overall information about your data set. Okay, now let's go to explore. Now we are getting into the data set. These are the basic things you can do. There are plenty more things you can do, which you can refer to the documentation and understand. These are the basic things that we can do. Okay, now let's explore the data set. Okay. So this is called, technically, there is a fancy name to it. It's called exploratory data analysis. Exploratory data. So we are going to do the basics of this exploratory data analysis. Okay. Again, if you're not familiar to Python, I'll tell you what is this hash means. So if I put a hash and enter a line, that line will not be executed as a command. Okay, that's a comment. This is how we comment in Python, commenting. So if you're not familiar with Python, we have done a introductory Python program whose recordings are available. You can contact any of the SIAS people, any of us, if you want the links to it. Okay, so we have a full basic Python program available. Okay, anyway, yeah. So let's get into data analysis. Okay. So first, we need to do a process which is called subsetting the data. What do you mean by subsetting? Subsetting is extracting columns or extracting rows from the huge data set that we have. Let's say I need to extract a typical column as a whole, not the complete data set. I need only one column. How do I do that? I need one complete. See, for example, I have this data set here, right? Now um, I need to know which of these serial contains. Okay, let's say I want to arrange these cereals in the ascending order of their calories. Okay, let's say I need the cereal with least amount of calories at the bottom, and sorry, at the top, and the one with higher amount of calories at the top. So I have to arrange this I have to sort the calories column alone in the ascending order. So I don't want the entire data set. I need only the calories column, right? So I have to pick up only that particular column from the huge data set. Now, how do I do that? That process is called subsetting. Okay, that process is called the subsetting of data. Yeah. Let's take up this protein column. Okay, let's take this protein column now. I'm going to extract the protein column exclusively from the entire data set. I don't want anything else. I'm going to work with the protein column. So I need only that column. So how to do that? So I can, okay, and then I'll give it a name. I'll give it a name so that I can use it later. Okay, so I'll call it protein. This is the name I'm assigning to it. And I can use the command df, open a square bracket. Within apostrophe, you can type the column name. You got to be very careful. The spelling has to be exactly the same. Protein. Okay, this is called subsetting the data by column name. Okay, it'll give you no output because I've taken the column and I have assigned it to a variable. This is called variable, right? It's a variable in technical language, and I've now what I've done is I've taken this protein column and then I've given it a name protein. Now, if I type protein here, if I type print, okay, not necessary to type print. Either you can try and print backslash, sorry, protein. Otherwise, you can simply type protein. See, only the element, only the entries of that column will come out. Do you see that? Let's check it. So protein is 4, 3, 4, 4, 2, 2, and so on. So you can actually see 4, 3, 4, 4, 2. It will show you a preview of, now it has selected. Now if you type protein, the protein, this is a different type of data set. I'll call you what it is. Now it contains only, this is the index and this is the column. Okay. Now all the information, all the entries under the name protein have been extracted right now. Okay. Now let's understand what kind of data frame it is. Okay. What is a data type? Okay. So type protein. Okay. Now this is a slightly different data. This is a slightly different object which is called a series. Okay. So a series. So basically, pandas contains two types of data structures. One is a data frame in which you will have rows and columns. The next one is a series. Series will usually have only one column. So this is only column. This is not considered as a column. This is the index referring to that column. Okay, one column, and okay, it will contain only one column which is indexed as this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Okay, so series is kind of a, like, as if you're familiar with matrix, it's like a column vector. It contains only one column. We'll explore this later on. Okay. Now we have extracted one full column. Okay. Now you can always do this. If you want to know the first 5 elements of it, what you can do is, okay, you can try this. Let's say I want first 5 entries of the protein column. What am I supposed to do? I can use the head, protein.head. It will print us first 5 rows of the protein column, first 5 values. Okay, now this is an exercise for you. Pick up the column calories. Pick up the column calories. Print first 5 entries of the column. If you have done that, you can raise your hands. Done? Okay, Shreya. Yeah. Right, Jagannath. Thank you. Manju. Done? Great. Okay. And you can also find what is a type of, what is a D type. Okay. So the basic idea. Okay. Okay. I'll call it the calories when I take the calories. I hope it's the same spelling. Yeah, calories. Okay, it's fine. Now calories dot head. Fine. B type, it's all integers. Okay, it's also already showing its integers. Now let's see what is a D type. It's series. We expect it to be a series, right? It's a one column thing, so it should be a series. Okay. Now, what if I need multiple columns? Okay. I don't, not only one column, I need, let's say, more than one column at a time. Okay. Okay. You can try by yourself as a small exercise. Just try it. Okay. Just try some trial and error, and let's say if you're finding it out. So let's say I need um, okay, I need these columns. Okay, okay. Try to extract only these many columns, nothing else. Just try for 1 or 2 times. If you're able to, and again, you can actually give it some name, some pet name, and then you try to print that. Yes. I mean, see, one is if you don't, if you use the df.info, it will show you if there is any missing value or something is there. And if there is any other complication, certain things we can't do certain things, then we will understand that there is this problem and we have to get around it. It's a part of data cleaning. Okay, we can do that. At the beginning, you can't really find out what are all the mistakes of. I mean, this info only give you an overall idea about what's all there and what's missing and things like that. Oh, you are talking about a mistake? I mean, in the sense that any illogical stuff or something like that? Yeah, obviously, yes. Actually, for example, you're looking at some numbers. For example, let's say you're looking at the petrol emission details of vehicles, okay? And in which you have a range of data which is, okay, looks very familiar, which is logical. But let's say you have one or two values which are very far away from, for example, if the average is, okay, if the median is about, maybe you're looking at a, maybe like median is around 100, and suddenly you have a value of around 1000 somewhere. That's an anomaly. Such kind of numbers are called as outliers. So there are methods to detect outliers, and such outlier has to be treated separately. We'll see them. Going ahead, we will identify. So such methods are there. We can actually identify anomalous information. All right. Yeah. Were you able to extract these columns? Okay, no problem. Oh, yeah. Good. Super. Uh, what have you done? Okay, if you wish to, you can share your screen, one of you. Jagannath can share your screen so that. Okay. Would you like to do it, Jagannath? Or if not, it's okay. Fine. No issues. Shreya? Okay. So I'll show you one way to do that. I don't know whether you have done it exactly the same way. So maybe it's something like this. Okay? This is what we need to do. Okay. Now let's try to print this. You can actually see it prints. Okay. So it prints all the 77 rows and only these three columns. Have we done the same thing? Yeah. Okay. How did you get the idea that we need two square brackets? Okay, that's what the key here. We need two square brackets if you are subsetting multiple columns. Fuse. Okay, Jagannath, are you getting the same output even if without it? Oh, okay, okay, no problem. Fine, okay. Yeah, so this is how we do it. Now, again, you can use head. Okay, now let me ask you a very simple question. What will be the D type here? Will it be a series or will it be a data frame? What do you think? Absolutely, it's a data frame, right? You can actually verify it. and use type, because you have, how do you know? Because we have a number of columns and a number of rows, right? That itself suggests that it's a data frame. Okay? Obviously, it shows that it's a data frame, right? Okay, so the next thing that we are going to do is, okay, this is how you subset a data set by column name. Okay, now let's understand how to subset by uh, the index of each column. Okay, now, okay, give me a minute. I'll drink some water and come back. Okay? 2 minutes. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Now let's subset the data by index position. Right. Let's say I need the first three rows. Okay, first three rows. Oh, sorry, not rows. First three columns. Okay, rows we will do later. So let's say, okay, these three columns: types, calories, and protein. Right? Those are they the the first three rows? Which are the first three columns? First three columns is these three: MFR, type, and calories. These are the first three columns. Let's try to get them by index position. Now, if you look at the index position, what is the index of this column MFR? Let's look at here. Let's look at info. So the name column is indexed as 0. MFR, okay, so the name is also indexed as one of the columns. Fine. So the name is the first column, which is indexed as 0. MFR is the second column, which is indexed as 1. And type is the third column, which is indexed as 2. So what you can do is, instead of typing the name of those columns, you can actually use the same command, this same command. Okay, same command. But instead, I'll use the index of those. I mean, index number corresponding to those columns. Okay, let's say type. And let's say what is index corresponding to type index number corresponding to type. So you can actually see here type, the index number is 2, calories it's 3, protein it's 4. So instead of typing the names, what I'll do, I'll remove the names and simply I'll type 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Yeah. Now this is the reason why. Now this confusion is happening because of one villain. The villain is this, these column names. Okay. This is the now see. Otherwise, it should happen automatically. In many data sets, this will come up automatically. Okay. But right now there is a problem here. Um, it's because of this header. It's not being actually read. Now what I'll do, I'll put the head. The reason you will not understand now, but I'll tell you later. Okay, I'll put header none. I'll load the dataset once again. Now let me enter this. Okay. Okay, I should give it some other name because the column. Yeah, anyway, it's okay. Columns. What would I name? Okay, I'll give another name. Columns. Okay. Now, how do you know that? Now, see, there is no error, right? Because the problem was, yeah, since there was um, this heading was actually preventing pandas from extracting the index corresponding to this. So these headings were actually in conflict with the index numbers. Okay, that's why it was not able to sort of extract those numbers. Now see, I've given header none. And if I use it, it's gone. Okay. Now the pandas will go and check the index numbers are there. So it can easily go and find out those columns. Okay. Now that's why it's not throwing up any errors. See. Now if I use columns dot head, see, it's giving you exactly this. See, these two are exactly the same, right? Type calories protein, type calories protein. Okay. Only thing here is that it's producing the headings as well as it's giving the correct index numbers as well. Okay. Sometimes data sets will be correctly coded that even with headers, it will return correct columns. Okay. With index numbers. Okay. So if while subsetting with index position, if you stumble upon this kind of an error, which would say that there is no integers beyond those columns. Okay, the pandas would complain that there is no integers below the columns that you want, which means that it's not able to find out those columns with index. Now, if that kind of error comes up, what you can do is you can actually remove the headers, and then pandas will automatically replace all the headers with index numbers. And then you can use this command so that those column with those index numbers will be returned. Okay, fine. So this is simple. Okay. Yeah. Now the next thing what we'll do is okay. Now there is a range function in pandas. Okay, range function. A range function. So what range will do? Okay, let's try. Okay, now let's print B. Okay, give me a minute. Okay, sorry. With this, we'll wind up. Okay, we'll continue with remaining sections. We'll continue tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
thank
Sure.
you.
That'll come to you. Not a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. So the range is not giving the output that I want. Let me just try. Uh,
I just want to try, is there any documentation available for,
Pandas.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
I'll
all
give
the
you a link.
data
Yes.
points and all. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you a link. 1 second.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. Then from range function and how to index the columns with the range function, we'll see the next class. Okay, it's okay, but okay. I'll give you a link to the Pandas documentation. Okay.
You can send via email. That's
Oh, yeah, that's okay.
yeah,
Fine.
yeah,
Okay.
fine. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I understood why. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so the range function basically what it will do, it will give me integers from 0 to 5. Okay, equally spaced. That's what a range function will do. So it's like when I give 0, 5, um, it'll give me a set of numbers to iterate. For example, if you're using a for loop and all, actually you have to go from 0, go to the next number, and so on, right? That's how a for loop works. So let's say I have five entries in a list. So if I have to go through each and every entries of that list, I have to, for example, if there are 5 entries, 5 times the loop should go, right? For the like 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. So if I give a range function, um, for example, from 0 to 5, it will start from 0. That means the first entry, and then the second entry, third entry, and so on. Okay. So this range function will technically give me a set of numbers which can be used for iteration purpose or looping purposes. That's what the range function will do. And such a range function can be utilized to extract to subset data set from a subset a huge data set. Okay. Again, if I start that, it'll go beyond 8:30. So I don't want to do that. Let's do that in the next class tomorrow. Okay. Fine. So see you tomorrow sharp at 7 o'clock. Okay. Don't leave. I'll give you the link. Pandas documentation. I'll put it in the chat box. You can. Yeah, this is the link to the Pandas documentation. All the necessary details will be there. It's a very huge documentation. Plenty of informations are there. I mean, plenty of information is there, so you can explore very slowly. Fine. Thank you. Good night. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, good night, sir.
Yeah.
See you
Good night.
tomorrow.
See you.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. Yeah. Bye, Shreya.